We have a follow-up that's a kind of inner follow-up to the remarkable presentations of both Paul and Tristan and others that you've heard this morning. And it's, in my own experience, it's one of the most powerful meditations that I've ever done or ever taught. So for those of you who do stay, thank you. This is potentially life-changing. But you know, the easy part is that actually everything's life-changing, so. But I was asked to lead a practice for you, or to invite you to do a practice. And I may have done this once in these past 10 years of Wisdom 2.0. I can't even remember. So many great things have happened from this stage. It is a meditation that is an invitation to understand the awakened heart. And we heard in these various presentations this morning, both inner and outer, the ways that we can share love, compassion, and understanding, both individually, but much more importantly in our collective field of being part of life and humanity. The awakened heart in Buddhist psychology is described as having four basic qualities. The first is love, this mysterious sense of being one with, being connected with. I feel it's like gravity, how the planets and stars pull at one another. Maybe we all remember we were together in the Big Bang or something like that. But it's a sense that we're not separate. When that mysterious connection meets suffering and pain, which there is in human incarnation, it turns into a different state, which is compassion. Compassion is that quivering of the heart that feels the suffering of another and also wants to reach out and do what you can to make a difference. Then when that love sees the beauty of the world or of another being, it changes into a different quality, which is called shared joy, mudita in Sanskrit. And the heart opens to see the mystery and the awe, like we saw from Louis' film yesterday of the fungi kind of speaking to us, that there's a kind of delight in that arises, and a shared joy in the mystery of the world. And then when all of that is held in a wise heart, what comes finally is we drop to a place of a profound connection in vastness and stillness of who we really are, which is called the baseline of peace, equanimity, well-being underneath all of that. So this is a description of the awakened heart. And the meditation practice that I'd like us to do is a paired practice that takes about 10 minutes or so. I have to apologize in advance to the introverts among you, because it's somewhat daunting and you may feel all kinds of, do I want to do this, and so forth. I promise you, if you do it, even though it may bring up other things of being shy and so forth, it also is quite remarkable and transformative in its way. So without any words, I'd like you to scoot yourself around so that you can more or less face somebody else in the room as a partner. And staying silent for now. Keep silent and quiet. Shh. See, and leave the lights up. That's great. If you need a partner, raise your hand and stand up with your hand up and look for somebody else whose hand is up. Put your hand in the air, turn in a circle, and look for someone else whose hand is in the air. Who else is still looking for a partner? Someone on the side. Other people, stand up, raise your hand, and look. I'm sure you will find. All right, now settle yourself as best you can. And for this next 10 minutes or so, or 12, we'll see, you get to do a meditation that is really kind of remarkable. So sitting with this other human being, First, take 2 or 3 deep breaths and quietly let yourself relax. Center yourself and release whatever tension you can. And now when you're ready, lift your gaze up and look at the eyes of the person seated across from you, gently. And if you feel any discomfort or an urge to laugh or look away, just note that embarrassment gently, or shyness with patience, and return your attention when you can to the living presence of this other unique being, for you may never have a chance to see this person in this way again. And as you behold this person and gaze into their eyes, let your awareness open to the secret beauty behind these eyes, the remarkable spirit that was born into this being, filled with wonder and gifts. There are unmeasured reserves of courage and intelligence, of wit and wisdom and endurance behind these eyes. Gifts this person themselves may be unaware of. As you see them, you can see in that beauty the spirit that was born into them, that was born wanting to connect to the world. That spirit of life. And let yourself feel the tenderness comes as you let yourself see this, the beauty in this being behind these eyes, and how you wish for them wellness, well-being. And know that what you're now experiencing is the natural heart of loving kindness, born into you and in each being, that comes whenever we pay a deep attention to one another. Rest in it. Trust it. And continuing to gaze, now take a deep breath and release the love. And seeing deeper behind these eyes, let yourself see the measure of sorrows that are carried in this human being, the disappointments and failures that they have experienced, the measure of pain in their life as in every human life. There are behind these eyes hurts beyond the telling. They never have told another person. This too is part of their humanity. Let yourself open to see the measure of tears or sorrow or struggles in this life. And just as you would with a child who is struggling or hurt, want to reach out, feel how naturally, when you see this, there's a willingness to be with them. You can't fix their pain, but you can be present for it. And this tenderness you are now experiencing is called the great heart of compassion. Rest in it. Trust it. It is necessary for the healing of the world. And now, continuing to gaze, take a deep breath and look even deeper into these eyes. And as you see behind these eyes, let yourself envision and see the child of the Spirit that was born into them. Picture or imagine their most joyful day as a young child, their happiest times, laughing, running, tickling, teasing, playing with themselves and others, and know that that child of the Spirit is still within them. Let yourself see the secret joy that was born into this being. Taking risks, dancing, wonder at the world. And as you see the child of the Spirit in there, that inviolable child that is ever present under it all, know that what you are experiencing now is called in Sanskrit mudita. It's the shared joy of being alive in this world. Rest in it. Trust it. It is part of who you really are. And finally, keeping your gaze, take a deep breath, let go of the joy, and now this is the fourth dimension of the awakened heart. Let your awareness drop deep like a stone, sinking below the level of what words can touch, to the fundamental mystery of consciousness itself. And see behind these eyes the consciousness that was born into this being, that weaves through all space and time. And see the being before you as if seeing the face of one who at another time and another place was your child, your son or daughter. Was your parent. This was your mother or your father. Was your friend. So many times. Was your enemy. Was your teacher. Was your student. And now you meet on the brink of time and eternity as you gaze. Who are you? Who is that gazes and who is being seen? The mystery of timeless consciousness coming into form in these bodies. We are not these bodies or feelings. Who are you really? Rest in the vastness, in the timelessness of consciousness itself, in your own true nature. Trust it. Your original nature, the Buddha that you are, the awakened one. And from this you can enter life and dance in this life with the awakened heart. Let your eyes close gently for a moment. And when you're ready, let them open again. And in a moment, I'm going to let you thank your partner and speak to them, but I want to say a couple brief things as we have our last time. People will raise their hand afterward and say, this was difficult for me, because it can bring up that too, but also kind of amazing. And I'll get people raise their hand and say, hey, I've been married for 29 years. We never looked at each other like this, you know? Whoa. Or I saw things, the face changed, and I began to realize that the whole idea of who I thought this person was so much more than that, or being seen in this way. So I'm not quite sure how much time we have left. Maybe you can show it on my screen, dear Michelle. But why don't you take at least a couple of minutes to speak to that person now that you used to know what their sweater looked like, you know. You've never met this person in many cases, and now you know them in this remarkable way. So go ahead and share what you wish. With the person that you were with that person, the same person you looked at. Yeah, both of you speak.
Got a couple minutes left. The clock is obviously stopped, yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Finish up. I'm sorry to end this now, but you can continue with your new best friend perhaps at lunchtime. Let me say one more thing as we finish up. First of all, how was that? Raise your hand if that was something that was worthwhile doing. Yeah, look at that. Thank you. So in Louisville, Kentucky, at the corner of 4th and Walnut Street, is the only public monument that the government has ever put up to a mystical experience. Thomas Merton left his monastery and was walking down 4th Street, and he said, in the shopping district, I was overwhelmed with the realization that I loved all these people, that they were mine and I theirs, and we could never be estranged from one another, even though we didn't know our names. It was like waking from a dream of separation. This sense of liberation from the difference was such a relief and joy, I laughed out loud. The joy of being a member of incarnated in a human race where the Spirit, the divine, is there in everyone. There's no way of telling people that they are all walking around shining like the sun. So you now get to walk around Wisdom 2.0 and out in the market street and the marketplace and carry the awakened heart. Thank you.